We're back with Staff Sergeant Grant Obst from the Saskatoon Police Service talking about patrol and the life of a police officer. Maybe we'll just pick up where you left off and talk a little bit more about the service and patrol and those types of calls that a patrol officer would go to, whether I guess they're in uniform first of all. That that experience has to open some doors for them to segue into different departments within the service. And can you tell us what types of calls would lead them to, the bomb unit or the tactical support unit and things like that?
Sure. Well, I guess the good thing and the crucial thing about patrol is that there isn't any call you wouldn't go to. Because again, when someone calls the police, it's patrol that's coming. And it'll be, the patrol officers that show up there initially. They'll do the initial investigation, the questioning to determine what is the issue, what's the crime, whether it's a internet-based crime, whether it's a home that's been broken into, whether it's a car that's been rifled through, whatever. They do that initial investigation. In the case of a serious assault, a stabbing, or God forbid, a murder, their job, the patrol officer's job, would be to cordon off that area, protect the scene, preserve the evidence, deal with the people that may still be there and handle them appropriately. And then we start calling out the detectives. So then your major crime detectives would be coming out. And whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're coming out. Or whether it's the general investigation officers that are coming out to investigate the assault, or whatever the case may be. And there are roughly, I think, about 25 different sections and units within the police service, or within the Saskatoon Police Service, all with officers that have an experience or a set of skills specific to a certain type of crime. The patrol officer is getting that basic experience as a patrol officer, and then as a constable, you have the opportunity to apply for different sections. So a patrol constable after 5 or 6 years may apply to be a B&E investigator, or may apply to be a vice investigator, or may apply for the drug unit or the stolen, all the different units. And then another good thing about policing is you never stop learning, you never stop training. Things are always changing, for one thing, but if you're going to go from patrol to one of those specialty sections, well, now you've got to provide that individual with additional training to be able to competently do whatever they're doing in that particular section. You mentioned the tactical support unit. That's often referred to as SWAT. Those officers are highly trained in techniques and in weaponry, normally for calls where firearms are going to be involved or were a very, very high risk. We've got an explosive disposal unit. Those are a team of officers that they attend the Canadian Police College down in Ottawa. All explosive technicians have to be trained in Ottawa, so they're all trained to the same level. They're all licensed, and they handle anything having to do with explosives, criminal or hazardous material that needs to be handled, anything like that. That's what the bomb squad guys would do, guys and girls actually. We have the public safety unit. They are often referred to as the riot squad, and they are trained in specific techniques to handle crowds or to do crowd management. So there's like a whole host of things that are open to you as a police officer, besides that, going to the calls, although going to the calls is an interesting component as well.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone just wakes up and wants to go to detonate a bomb or to go to an accident scene and so on. But as that first responder, there has to be maybe a visceral fire in the belly, if you will, of a willingness to serve. I'm just noticing the uniform with the decorations that you have. That has had to have come with some experiences along the way. What are you wearing there?
Well, if you hang around this long and you're getting to the right line,
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to be, I've had all kinds of opportunities, and often things are recognized. I happen to serve as an aide-de-camp for the Lieutenant Governor. You get recognized for that type of volunteer work. Years ago, I was involved with the Police Association, which is the organization that represents the rank and file. I was lucky enough to actually head the national organization for 5 years as the president. So that afforded me all kinds of opportunities to see policing from a different perspective and in a whole bunch of different places across the country. And if you're any good at it, you might get recognized for that. So these are ribbons, actually, and if you were wearing a dress uniform, they would actually be medals that that appear on your uniform. But again, it's not about the medals and it's not about the decorations. We've got all kinds of officers out there that may not be wearing medals, but they're certainly worth their medal.
I know I've attended some of the police service awards and just listening to the chief's commendation with some of the officers, it's remarkable what happens out there. If we were to talk about, you know, some of the incidents you mentioned you're first on the scene, and there are those moments where it gets a little dicey and so on, and I guess that's expected. But are there any stories you can share with us that are maybe a little bit of a lighter note that not a lot of us might know about or have a good feel to them?
You know, actually, there's one that's stuck with me for years, and I think is worth sharing. And it maybe doesn't have that element of excitement, but it certainly has that element of what's policing all about. So I'll go back to probably 1989. I think I'd been with the Saskatoon Police Service for about a year. I was assigned to the Nutana area in patrol, and I remember it was a sunny summer afternoon, and I got a call that someone had entered a home and had stolen a purse. So, and this might be a hint for your viewers. This was a home in Nutana. It has a back alley, and the lovely lady that worked there, an elderly lady, had been working out in her front yard, I think in a flower garden or something, and somebody came in the backyard and into the home, which was unlocked, and took her purse right off the kitchen table. Well, for her, that was devastating. And I mean, and this is another thing for a patrol officer. When you go to the calls day in and day out, there is the possibility you may become somewhat complacent, and you can't be. I mean, when you go to a call like that, for her, that was the most traumatic thing that happened to her. I'm going to guess probably in years that was the most traumatic. So it's important that you embrace that emotion and deal with her appropriately. And I can remember she was upset, obviously. We chatted, and I took her with me. We actually walked up and down the alley, and we're looking in garbage bins, because often the bad guy he doesn't care about the purse. He just wants the money and chucks the purse, and maybe we can recover the purse. As it turned out, we didn't recover anything, and unfortunately she was out her purse. That was 1989. Now getting back to the ribbons here, in 2004, I was fortunate enough to be invested into the Order of Merit for police. An awesome privilege. The Star Phoenix actually did a little article in the newspaper when that happened back in the day, and lo and behold, I got a card in the mail from the lady who I had dealt with in 1989. The nicest card, and she had wrote that she had followed my career over the years, you know, just wanted to let me know how grateful she was for how we handled that call. I gave her a phone call, and we had the nicest chat. And when you just think about that, 1989, you go to a rather routine call, but you have such a hopefully positive impact on an individual that years later, they give you a call just to tell you you're thinking about them. Well, man, you take that one home with you. So, I mean, not exciting, but that's part of policing, and that's might not be what you see on TV when you watch, you know, Hill Street Blues. Is that date? Does anybody know what that is?
I'm one Adam 12, so I'm a little...
Okay, yeah, I remember that one. Anyway, that might not be what you think about when you watch those shows, but that is it. That's what it's about.
I think that just sheds a whole bunch of light for a lot of us that see the service, and it is a service, and we thank you for that, as well as the membership, and just letting us know a little bit more in depth of what's happening on the patrol side of things. And I want to thank you very much for making time. I wish you and your family all the best this season, and to all the members of the rank and file and the civilian service, thank you for all your work you do.
Thank you, and to you, Randy. Pleasure.
That's our show for today. We'll be right back.